results. In the last 2 matches, they lost against Mara Sugar 2-0, and then they drew in their next fixture against it was Moranga Sale. So I think pressure is piling up, because what fans are expecting from
Fred
Ambani is for him maybe to show he has that technical prowess and tactical prowess for the team to win matches irrespective of the opponent they face. But it's a big save there from Chelsea. Chelsea forced a fine save, and it was just off an error. Defensive error from Burnley, and big save from the Burnley goalkeeper. So back to the FKF Premier League. I think pressure is continuing to piling up. Yes, FC have only lost once this season. There are 8 matches so far. But
which is a good return.
It is. Bearing in mind it is a transition.
Yeah.
A new management has just been voted in.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, but Gor Mahia right now are 19 points. FC are with, I think, 13 points. Yeah, at number 4, if I'm not wrong. And they have 8 games. Their level on games played so far. So the pressure that is coming in is like, if Gor Mahia have come back, have bounced back to grand result, they have been winning, and right now they've gone to 19. Why not FC Leopards? But comparing the quality between these two teams, they're totally...
They are different.
Two worlds apart.
Because the AFC, the attacking and the midfield is very good. But I have problem with the back line. I don't know why. Because they concede cheap goals and they need to strengthen the backside. Maybe they need to have more players at the backs, higher good players at the back.
Yeah, their defense hasn't been stable. I think mostly their weak point has been the set pieces, corners, and the free kick around the danger zone. Whenever they concede those two things, it's so difficult for FC Leopards to hold on to that pressure. And you find that mostly those goals come through the central defense. That partnership, maybe the coach has also been trying to test different players. We have the likes of Koulibaly, the Ivorian. He came in, tried to slot in. We have the likes of Randy. We have the likes of their captain or Diambo. So I think they have been trying to bring in different partnership, but it is not yet working. And that tells you maybe the team didn't have a good pre-season. If you had a good pre-season, you should have known at least the type of players you are trying to bring in. Player A can do well, player B in this particular scenario. Because looking at their fullbacks, that is number 2 and number 3, Brian Nyongesa, and then the other side. Of course, those 2 players have been trained to do well. That is the thing that they're trying to strengthen. But coming at the central defense, it is so difficult for them to continue containing the pressure from the opposition. And most of the coaches in the Premier League have seen that is the FC Leopards' weakest points, and they've been capitalizing on it most of the time. And that's why it has been difficult for FC Leopards maybe to have many clean sheets.
It's and you've captured it very well. The other match was Police, which was playing against Mathare United. Mathare at the other time defeated Shabana in Gusi 1-0, which was a difficult match.
Yes.
It seems today they have lost to Police, Abu Domar goal. Police have won against Mathare, Abu Domar. Yeah.
So I think Police are slowly coming back into this title race. They can be the dark horses as well as what I've been talking about, Nairobi United. Those two teams, of course.
A very good team.
Yeah, very good team. Yeah. So I think they're slowly coming back into this because after losing to Gor Mahia, they've gone ahead, I think, to win the next 2 matches in a row. And it is a huge motivation to the players themselves and also the new coach who was trying to bring his maybe style of play. And beating Mathare United, a team that has been trying to be so hard for the big boys to beat, I think it is something that they're looking forward to and maybe build that confidence heading into the next fixture. And if you see Gor Mahia, Kenya Police, Tusker, FC Leopards, and Nairobi United, those 5 teams, as well as Kakamega Homeboys. Homeboys are second on the log. Those 6 teams are going to give us a really, really interesting title competition this season because whoever is going to drop points unnecessary, definitely, they'll have themselves to blame when the season comes to an end.
You didn't touch on Poster.
Poster. I think based on how they started the season, nobody saw that coming. But
is Pamzo still with them or went to APS Bomet?
Pamzo, there have been reports across the social media the last few days that he has ditched Poster Rangers for struggling APS Bomet. But of course, that's definitely about monetary value. I'm pretty sure he was given a bigger check compared to what Poster may be suffering him. And we have seen Pamzo has been doing good job with those teams that are struggling. Whenever he goes to those teams,
even in Shabana, he did very well.
Yeah, he tries to lift them and ensure that they don't go down. So I think that's what the APS Bomet management have done. But he has left a Poster team that has also been trying to flirt, sometimes flirting, sometimes deceiving. But we don't know what's going to happen in the Poster. Who is going now to take over from Sami Pamzo when they take to the pitch tomorrow?
Okay. Now, away from KPL, there is interesting matchup. Let me just give you the lineups of what has going to happen in a few minutes ago. Brentford, of course, is playing Brighton. And remember, Brentford and Brighton are on the same points, and they are nearly following each other in the same position in the Premier League this season. Of course, Keith Andrews makes single changes to Brentford that beat Newcastle. So 3-1 a couple of weeks ago. Aaron Hickey drops to the bench and is replaced by defender by Christopher Aja. Midfield Fabio Cavallo sustained an anterior ligament injury in the training last week and will miss the rest of the season. So Brentford is Keller, Coyote, Collins, Van de Vaag, Aja, Yamoluk, Henderson, Quatara, Damsgaard, Shade, and Thiago as first 11. And of course, on the Brighton side, the high-flying Bryson, Verbruggen, Wifa and Kodoglu on left and right back, Van Hakel and Boskagli in the central defense, and Baleba and Ayari in the defensive midfield. Then the marauding Minte, Gomez and Ruta in the attacking midfield, and Danny Welbeck, who is 34 now, at the up front. So remember that there's no Mitoma. Mitoma is still injured. Yeah. What do you see? What's the matchup? How do you think of the match?
I think it's going to be a closely contested one. And just like people are coming off the international break, there's some rustiness from some of the players. Some are with injuries, just like you've said. And whoever may be going to make good use of those opportunities in the opening half definitely have a bigger chance to win the match, because it's always difficult for a team to come from the international break and just hit the ground running. Yeah, mostly, even this weekend, across the globe, you'll find that these top teams, the so-called big teams,
will really struggle.
Will struggle and will drop points. Yeah, and that is where maybe most of the pundits and the pandas manage, and the bookies manage to get their big checks from those particular games. But looking at Brentford and Brighton game, of course, we can consider it maybe like a mid-table encounter. But there's a lot to expect, bearing in mind that you have a player like players whom you know, like the former Manchester man, who is here to
Welbeck. Danny Welbeck. Former Arsenal as well.
But he has been scoring goals so far, and that's why I have to start with Manchester before bringing in Arsenal.
No. We have to say he's an Arsenal as well. The Goons.
Yeah. So I think Brighton will really need to win this game at home, because their last game they drew against Crystal Palace on the road, and then they had beaten Leeds 3-0 at home. But prior to that, they had lost to Arsenal in the Carabao Cup. But Manchester United had given them a rude shock, that is 4-2, when they went to Old Trafford. And on the other side, of course, Brentford beat Newcastle at home before the international break, and then they had lost to Crystal Palace on the road, and then they had beaten Grimsby 5-0 in the Carabao Cup. This Grimsby is the team that embarrassed Manchester United. And then I think Brighton have a point to prove, because they're not going to face a Brentford team that is just going to be waiting for them to attack and maybe lose those points. No. Looking at their past fixtures head to head, I think Brentford beat Brighton 4-2, at home, but they had drew 0-0 against Brighton on the road, and then they had shared the spoil also when Brentford hosted Brighton. But looking at the odds, how the bookies have tried to place them, I see that Brighton have been considered to be favorite for this particular match. So I think I can put my money on Brighton.
But remember, in Brighton, of course, Minte is a thorn in the flesh of any team, and of course, Ruta and Gomez. But also in this Brentford side, Quatara and Thiago. Remember, Thiago is among the top scorer, and Quatara is always also running rampage in that and team. So it's a very difficult team to see, and Henderson has all experience. So it's a match up, and the system is the same. Let's see how that one turns out. But also, there's another match between Bournemouth and West Ham United. And of course, Bournemouth is without, I say today, without Semenyo. You know, Semenyo, their talisman. But they still have a very strong team in Petrovic in goal, Cook and Taffet in left and right back, Diakite and Senesi in the central defense, Adams and Scott in the defensive midfield role, Brooks, Stanvia and Krupi in the attacking midfield, and Evanderson. But also, West Ham, who are the bottom boys nowadays, has Areola in goal, Todibo. They're playing a 4-3. They're playing the 3-5-1, the 3-4-3, like Manchester. Todibo, Igor Julio, and Kilman at the back. And the wing backs are Wan-Bissaka and Diouf. And the central midfield is Matheus Fernandes and Potts. And forward line is Bowen, Wilson, and Luis Guilherme. What's your take of these three, this match? It's a high-flying Doni Ariola's side versus the newly appointed Nuno Espirito Santo of West Ham.
I think Bournemouth, they're really looking forward to recover from their 2 defeats in a row before the international break. And if they manage to beat struggling West Ham today, definitely they'll go back to the top 4. And, they've been considered as one of the dark horses in the league. And it is up to them, of course. Semenyo is not there, but goals will also they have to look for other places to get those goals. And their momentum was temporarily stopped before the break. Now it's up to them to lift themselves up and go back from where they left off, because if they don't manage to get the maximum point in this particular game, it will be so difficult for them maybe to continue with that spirit they had before they lost to the likes of Manchester City. I think Nuno has a lot of work to do here. He'll come here, try to stop them, but it's not going to be that way easy as maybe he expects. As a coach, it is always difficult or hard for you to decide to go to a team that is looking more wounded, and the team that has been on the form of their lives prior to the international break. That break came at the right time for the Bournemouth, because 2 defeats in a row, and you had not lost prior to that. You are actually among the top 4 teams in the Premier League, and I think it gave them some breath so that they can continue, re-energize, and come back more stronger. So I feel Bournemouth have what it takes to take the maximum points in this particular game.
And Chelsea has scored another goal, so it's 2-0.
Yeah.
So they've wrapped up the game. Eventually, I think Burnley were not very quick in defending, but it's only 6 minutes added on, and we'll see what happens. Away from the ongoing match and what Rodgers Eshitemi has been talking about, the next match we want to check on is the high-flying Sunderland. I love Sunderland. They came into this league as surprise boys, and they are punching above their weight, as I said earlier. And of course, even their coach, Regis de la Brise, No one knows him that well because he was in League One in the championship with them. So people have not learnt his style. But what I like about Sunderland is that this coach knows how to use his players, and he plays a very funny system. Uh, Even today, his game is 5-4-1. His squad, his planned his side 5-4-1. Like goalkeeper rovs and 5 defenders. And the defenders are 3 centre backs, Mukiele, Ballard, and Getrida, and left and right back in Renildo and Hume. And then in the midfield, he has, when they asked former Arsenal's Shaka, is a main man, is the midfield 4 of Shaka leading the midfield, Sadiki, Traore, and Lifi. And then up front is a single guy known as Isidore. This matchup is against Marco Silva's Fulham, which has not been doing so well. Is blowing hot and cold, as I said. It's Leno, former Arsenal player, in goal there. Tete and Sessegnon, Ryan Sessegnon in left and right back. Anderson and Bassi in the central defense. Iwobi, former Arsenal midfielder, in midfield, and Sandy Badge as a defensive midfielders. Then Wilson, King, and Kevin on the attacking midfield, and Jimenez on as a single forward in the game. So I don't know, Rodgers, this 5-4-1 versus 4-2-3-1, Marco Silva versus Regis de Libris. Regis de Libris actually frustrates teams. He frustrated Arsenal, that team, until it got an equalizer.
I think Sunderland looks to be very unpredictable and solid team. They have that never give up spirit. They fight until the final whistle. And I think they are the only side so far that has managed to score more than 2 goals against Arsenal this season from the normal play. So them meeting a struggling team in Fulham that is, I think, 1 point above relegation zone, and Michael Silva is actually under a lot of pressure because if they don't win this particular game, his days could be numbered at Craven Cottage, because there's no way the manager, the owners will allow maybe Fulham to go back to the championship. And looking at the squad, of course, you have spoken very clearly about the qualities that the Black Cats have. You have the likes of Shaka, who is always omnipresent, the leaders, the leadership, as in the ability to control the tempo of the game in that middle field. And then we have the Sadiki, Traore, always bringing that industry and the energy required in the team. And then Isidore, ever present there with these physical abilities and physicality, trying to shift and destroy and as well toy around with the opposition defense. And then looking at the other side of the team for Fulham, Leno between the post, Iwobi coming from that humiliating defeat in the World Cup qualifiers against DR Congo for Nigeria. He has something to prove, and we have Jimenez there, the man who has always been trying to make difficult moments for the opposition backline, and Kevin. But Fulham, they have now to take this like their final game of the season, because looking at how things have been happening for them prior to the international break, I think they have not been at their best. They have been conceding goals when they aren't necessarily need to be so, and they are losing those matches when it matters most. They have only won two in their last, I think, 7 competitive matches. That is not a good statistics for a team.
It's not a good return to the squad.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the other side, you see that Sunderland have dropped 4 points in their last 2 matches. They have drawn twice, 2 in a row. So they are looking forward to bounce back and maybe go into the top 3, because they're number 4 right now. Yeah. So if they manage to get the maximum points here, definitely they can find themselves either number 3 or number 2, depending on how their rivals will play tonight and also tomorrow. So I think Sunderland's have what it takes, based on the morale and the confidence and how they've been doing their things before the international break, unless otherwise, if maybe the break could go against their way, maybe affect their momentum, then I think it is Sunderland's match to lose.
Interesting there, Regis, and very interesting observation. Is Sunderland's match to lose? I agree with you 100% because Sunderland is a hard nut to crack. But also today, Anslot and his Liverpool side is meeting Nottingham Forest of Sean Dyche. Sean Dyche has recovered and since being appointed. And there's something which is very interesting about the team selection for Liverpool. It seems that since Alexander Arnold left, and they do not have a proper right back now, because today Subavsulai is going to play right back, and he's a number 8. You know, he's a central midfielder. So the lineup for Liverpool is really interesting. Alisson Becker is back in goal, and then Subavsulai is taking the right back position, and Kakes on the left back. And of course, Van Dijk and Konate as the central defensive midfield defenders. And of course, in the midfield is McAllister, Gravenberch, and Jones. On the left midfield, Jones that is. And in the forward line is Mohamed Salah, Isaac, and Gakpo. Then I think we have a lot to discuss there on the team selection because even in the bench, we don't have the Florian Wirtz on that bench. So I don't know where Florian Wirtz has gone. He's not even on the bench, but Hugo Ekitike is on bench. And of course, there are Andre Robertson and Federico Chiesa and Hendo. So those are the top guys who are on the bench. But for Nottingham side, we have Sells back in goal as usual, Savona and Williams left and right back, Milekovic and Murillo in defense, and of course Sangare and Anderson on defensive midfield, and then Ndoye, Gibbs White and Dominguez in attacking midfield, and Igor Jesus in the front line. So that means that Hudson Odoi goes to the bench, who is also who runs also very riot on that right wing, and of course Makati is also on bench for this game, as well as Yates, who also start the match. So what do you think of this one?
I think first thing first, Florian is out with an injury, and due to his involvement with Germany in the World Cup qualifiers. And I think quite interesting moment for one Mohamed Salah, because he'll become the 5th player, a Liverpool player to make 300 appearances in the Premier League. So it's a milestone for him, and if he manages to score, definitely he'll be breaking more records there. And it's going to be quite interesting to see how the trio of Salah, Isak, and Gakpo manage to partner up from there, because there have been a lot of debate on how or when Isak will manage to settle in at Anfield and hit the ground running, because he hasn't been himself since he switched from Newcastle to Liverpool with that record-breaking transfer fee. I think this is the time to prove his worth there, that he wasn't bought for just to come and sit on the bench, or rather to be there as a spectator, but prove himself on the pitch, score goals, and ensure that Liverpool remain among the title contenders this season. So that trio of Salah, Isak, and Gakpo, if it manages to click, definitely it's going to be one of the deadliest striking the Premier League. But it's up to us to wait and see if indeed that's going to happen. And looking at the defensive, Szoboszlai going back to the right back, I think Slot has confidence in Szoboszlai to be in that position, because he has done it. He did it against Arsenal, and he has done it previously also, because their defensive line has always been struggling with injuries. And if he is there and he can continue delivering with the attacking line they have, the like of McAllister, Gravenberch, and then Jones also in the midfield, I think they are not worried the opposition they're going to face, because this is a team that has been struggling. And for Liverpool, it's a perfect chance for them to show the world that indeed we did so well in the transfer window. Yes, we never showed up against Man City. We went to Etihad, but we never showed up on the pitch, because it was just a pale shadow. They were just a pale shadow of their former self when they played Man City before the international break. And looking at their matches ahead of this game, previous matches, I think it is not a good form for Liverpool at all. But the break will have done justice to them because they had lost, like, I think, 3 matches in their last 5 games. Yeah, they have thrown five competitive matches. They have lost 3 times. They only won twice. And on the other side, you look at Nottingham team. It's a team that prior to the international break, they had beaten Leeds 3-1, and they had also drawn in the Europa League with Sturm Graz, the Austria team. So, and prior to that, they had frustrated Manchester United to a 2-2 draw. So I think this is going to be one of the acid tests for Slaughter and these boys. How mentally are they prepared to get themselves back into the Premier League title race, and also looking forward to the Champions League matches, because it's going to be a very busy and congested fixture session. That is the Christmas moment, because you find like you can play 4 matches in less than 8 days or 9 days. So it will depend how your endurance, how physically prepared you are, and how mentally prepared you are for you to be able to maneuver through all those fixture congestions. So for Liverpool, time for them to go back to where it all started from, because they are the champions.
All right. And then Wolves versus Crystal Palace. And I can tell you that this also, bottom boys, Crystal Palace I'm calling, Wolves are calling them the bottom boys because they have been struggling. But now the manager, Rob Edwards, has decided to stem the rot. And by the lineup he's put, can tell you that he's going fully defensive, because what Rob Edwards has done is going to play a formation of 5-3-2, and Sam Johnston in goal, Chatua and Molfufa on the left and right back, and then the 3 central defenders, Ogabadu, Kreshi and Totti Gomez, are the 3 central defenders. And in the midfield, he has decided to play 3 Andre Munetsi and Joao Gomez, and forward line of Strand Larsen and Rokadare in the front line. So that's how he is set up his team. But Crystal Palace, the high-flying Crystal Palace, high-flying because, they have some very good team there. Of course, Alive Munoz as the right back, fantastic wing back there on the right. Of course, Henderson in goal, Dean Henderson, former Man United goalkeeper. And they are playing the 3-4-3 system, which Manchester United plays. Though they have a better squad with this, their squad is better in that style, because Munoz on the wing back, right wing back, and of course Michel on the left wing back have been bringing the crosses. And then we have Watton and Kamanda in the central midfield. And of course we have Sarr, Jean Philippe, Mateta, and Pino in the forward line. So just to say that Mark Guehi is back, Lacroix and Richards at the back line. What's your take, Rogi, before we go to the last game of the match, of the week, of the day, and we go also tomorrow look at the Man United and Arsenal's?
I think it's going to be goals galore. Looking at the forward line that Palace have set up for this particular game. Of course, not the best time for Rob Edwards coming to a team that has lost their last 15 games in a row, and him meeting a team that has been scoring goals for fun. And I understand the likes of Mateta, Sarr, Pinot, they don't joke. They are on business. And if Palace manage to win this particular game, definitely they'll be hitting their 20th point mark, and that will be pushing them closer to the top 5 of the league so far. That's why I have that strong feeling. Of course, he has gone defensive, but Palace have those players who can open and break those lines. The likes of Kamada and Michel, those are people who knows exactly when to release the passes to Mateta, Sarr, and other players will be playing in that position. And even Sa himself, he can drive that ball, drive the defenders to himself, and then allow space for Mateta. But Mateta, his physicality as well, can't try to contain the position, hold the play, have more players on himself, and they give room to his teammates so that they can be able to frustrate the opposition. So, on my opinion, I feel Palace are going to pile more misery on the new coach, that is
Rob Edwards.
Rob Edwards. Of course, it's not the best experience he will have to have, but it is what it is, and I don't know how he's going to avoid Crystal Palace from maybe scoring more goals against them.
And to cap the day is, of course, the black and white of Newcastle versus the blue side of Manchester. What do you think?
Quite interesting game. The Manchester City have been flying before the international break, of course, and one man in the name of Erling Haaland has been setting records and breaking the records, his own records, and is definitely one of the most difficult player to face in the Premier League at the moment. Not even in the Premier League alone, across the globe, because you never know when he's going to turn up and which type of goal he's going to score, both in the aerial and then on the ground. He can go there physically, he can do anything. And at the end of the day, he'll ensure that the Citizen manages to get a win. And I think Citizen need to continue praying hard that he doesn't get an injury, because if he gets an injury, definitely will be so difficult for Manchester City to continue winning and maybe grinding out results. But for Newcastle, it is a team that is still with the hangover following the departure of Isak. I think it destabilized them to some extent, because they haven't been themselves since his exit, and the table is there for everybody to see, because their current position on the table is not that way convincing. A team that last season really pushed the top 5, the top 6 teams to the wall, but come this season, it's totally a different team, because right now looking at them, they're number 14 with only a paltry 12 points, something that you can't really relate with the Newcastle. Of course, they have some qualities, but can they continue fighting and pushing themselves to ensure they can't stop a team of Manchester City caliber? Because Pep Guardiola looked to be, they rediscovered his winning formula and pattern, and that's why them facing Newcastle could be a big test for him to see if he can beat Newcastle at this particular moment. We did it against Liverpool before the break, but right now we are coming back. Most of the players are somewhat tired, exhausted after being involved for the international matches. Will they continue that energy so that we get these points and put pressure on Arsenal? Because if Manchester City manage to win, definitely pressure will be on Arsenal when they face Spurs tomorrow.
And well, you brought it very well to where I was coming. This pressure will be on Arsenal as they face Spurs tomorrow. Your words, not mine.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Actually, the pressure is real, because the next game we are discussing is tomorrow at 16:30. Arsenal versus Tottenham at the Emirates. It's a derby. What's your take?
There's no favorite in derby. At all. And both teams, they want to prove to the world that they have done a lot of rebuilding. Frank, of course, he's a new manager at Spurs. He hasn't been there for a while. But on the other side, Arteta has been there for a couple of seasons, trying to bring in the type of players he wants to help him maybe win a major title, be it the Premier League, Champions League, or whatever. And for Frank, of course, I know he's going to miss the services of Sarr, who is doubtful for that match after suffering an injury during the international break. And on the other side, Arsenal will be without the no-nonsense scoring defender, Gabriel Magalhaes. But I think that shouldn't be a big issue for Arsenal, because they have
a very good defenders.
They still have a good defender.
Yeah, Pinkao.
On the Ecuadorian defender. So that's not going to give them
Incapi
is not going to give them a lot of pressure, because Nkapie is a left-footed centre back. He can slot in very easily in a Gabriel position, and the other things remain the same. Maybe they should be worrying about the fitness level of Victor Gyökeres, who missed the previous game due to some injury. And Arsenal, it is a moment for them to show that we have played so well throughout the season. We dropped points against Sunderland unnecessarily, but they were a worthy opponent. Now, can we bounce back strongly in the derby? If they manage to do so against Spurs, they have another derby in the name of Chelsea that will also come on their road. So if they manage to get like at least 4 points in these two derbies, then that's the time we'll say that indeed this could be Arsenal year of glory. But it is not going to be a walk in the park. As always, North London derbies are always fierce, a lot of emotion, a lot of physicalities, and expect anything from that derby. But Arsenal have a chance.
I was telling Arsenal fans that, and you're one of them, that you know why the derby between Arsenal and Tottenham is always well fought, more than any other derby in London, is because when there was the time, I've forgotten the exact year, when Arsenal and Tottenham were supposed to join the Premier League, Super League then, and Arsenal were number 6 in Championship. Yet, Tottenham, number 1 in Championship. Yet, the Arsenal chairman managed to convince the board to vote for Arsenal because Arsenal used to play better football and Arsenal was promoted at the expense of Tottenham. They didn't take the number 1, but they took number 6 to Premier League, where they have never been relegated now since then. And Tottenham fans could not believe what had just happened. They hate Arsenal because of that injustice. The injustice of being promoted ahead of them in the season they had won the championship. Can you imagine how Arsenal, the chairman of Arsenal, did those guys bad?
That's how football it is. Sometimes not everything can go your way. Yeah. You have to be crafty. Even locally, there's a number of crafty things have been done in the local scenes. I can't go there. You know how things are.
But even you know what I'm talking to.
Yes, even you know.
Even you know that you went to the league through backdoor.
Even you know the late Prime Minister did something for other people to remain in the league.
And we refused for AFC to go down.
Yes, that's what I'm telling you.
AFC Leopards was supposed to go down. We said they can't go down.
The same thing Gourmet was supposed to
go down. We refused.
He refused. Because there's no way the two teams could have gone down.
We refused.
Yes.
Now, Arsenal was number 6 and was promoted at the expense. If you're an Arsenal fan and you wonder, why do Tottenham hate us so much? Now, that's a backstory. The backstory is the chairman of Arsenal managed to convince the league that Arsenal is the most deserving team to be promoted to Premier League, though they were number 6. And the clubs voted, and Arsenal was voted as the best. Having finished in Championship as number 6, and Tottenham, who are number 1, remained in the grass. Sad day.
That is history for you.
Sad day for football.
No, not a sad day.
Yeah.
You have to start somewhere for you to play against the best.
Yeah?
Yes.
Sad day,
you have
but
to
it's
start
okay.
somewhere.
Then there's Leeds versus Aston Villa tomorrow. The All Whites versus Aston Villa, who have recovered. And then I want you to touch on the Northeast England derby of Manchester versus Everton, because they're Northeast. They're playing on Monday, and then we finish this week.
Manchester are enjoying the best moment of their season.
Of their life.
Of their life for the longest period possible.
You are talking badly, man.
No, but it is a honest opinion.
Yes.
And even I think I read somewhere, Sir Alex Ferguson is slowly but surely starting to fall in love with what Amorim is doing. You need to give credit where it's due. And of course, not everybody will like what Amorim is doing. It is a process.
Yes, it's a long process.
It's a long process. But based on the small thing he has been trying to do in the dressing room, trying to play on the pitch, I think Manchester. I'll remain with my statement that they'll remain the dark horses of the season this year. You won't talk so much about them, but slowly by slowly, they'll just find their way into the top three, or even if you switch off, they can be at the summit. So taking on Everton on Monday night.
Yes.
I think not a good day for the Manchester United fans to watch the Monday night football, because also have its own
Bad days.
bad things.
Yeah, Monday early kickoffs
Yeah.
and late football.
Yeah.
Very dangerous two places.
Yeah, so I think, but the beauty is the Toffees are coming to Old Trafford, so you can do all dirty things
In the pitch.
Yeah, in the pitch. And
Even the rats at the Old Trafford
exactly,
can come
those
out.
rats are the one I'm trying to, because they have to come out of
and
their...
the leaking roof.
Yes.
To rain on the people.
Yeah.
We are building a world-class stadium very soon. Don't worry. The Old Trafford will just remain a museum of football.
Yeah. So Manchester United have enjoyed, I think, 5-game unbeaten run, 3 wins and 2 draws. So for the Toffees going there, they know how difficult they are going to at least leave that Old Trafford unscathed, because the resilience of the Red Devils, I think it's a ribbon at Old Trafford. And if they continue that, definitely, no team will be ready to go at Old Trafford and maybe go home with the maximum points. We need to see that fortress, Old Trafford, being reinvented again, because in the recent few seasons, I've been seeing teams like Newcastle, teams like Brentford, teams like Brighton, teams like Fulham just go at Old Trafford and get points, embarrass Manchester United. But that thing, I think, is slowly by slowly going to become something of the past, because with the likes of Mbeumo, the likes of Kuna, those players have tried to bring something different. And even your captain, the captain
Bruno Fernandes.
Some things are trying to come up at the right moment. And it is that type of mentality that has been lacking in the Manchester United team, because looking even at their former players, the likes of Rio Ferdinand, Michael Carrick, those players have been complaining, lamenting what's not happening at Old Trafford. The same as Wayne Rooney, to an extent that Wayne Rooney right now is now become one of the admirers of Brian Mbeumo, saying that he's among the top 3 best players in the Premier League this season so far. That's a huge statement from the legend, who has already seen that indeed this person has tried to come in and try to change around whatever has been happening at Old Trafford. So for the Toffees, they have a very big task to do on Monday against the Devils.
The mentality is there, and of course now the Leeds versus Aston Villa, high-flying Aston Villa, and of course Leeds United, who are also trying to fashion some wins. And of course, Aston Villa, where does it sit? Aston Villa sits 6th on 18 points. And of course, Leeds United on 11 points. So Aston Villa clearly will be among the top teams if they win this man tomorrow. But they're going to Leeds. They're going to play in Leeds. So what do you think?
Of course, Aston Villa, look at the table standing. They are tied on 18 points with Spurs,
United, Liverpool,
and
Bournemouth,
as well as Bournemouth. So them trying to face Leeds, a team that lost their last game, I think it's a catch-22 situation. But Good Evening has done a good job at Aston Villa. That one we can't avoid speaking about it. And at the break, just like other team, I think might have given them more energy to come back more composed, so that they can continue with their mission. And balancing, of course, the Champions League, the Europa League hasn't been that way easy for most of the England Premier League teams. But for Amorim, somehow last season or so, he tried to do that. And Leeds now, they are coming in front of them. And for Amorim and, for Good Evening and his boys, they have their work cut out. They want to get the maximum points, 3 points, and maybe go to 21. And if If they manage to do so, definitely they'll also be knocking the door for the top 3 or top 4.
Interesting there. Interesting matchup. And we've taught you and told you what's going to happen in the whole weekend of football. Of course, it's Rodgers, Eshitemi, and myself, Charles Otieno, doing the Lord's work, making sure that you will see what's going to happen. So this week, it seems to be football galore. And as Eshitemi has said, remember, these teams are coming from the break and only internationals, and the only big clubs mainly suffer from this. Of course, Chelsea has managed to win a 2-0 against Burnley, and the next couple of matches are just about to kick off, and we hope that you will enjoy the matches as we sit down and usher in DJ Black Gypsy and the 1 and 2s, and when we come back, we'll tell you what happens in the next segment. Keep listening. It's the pitch side with myself, C.E.O. Charles Otieno, and Rodgers Eshitemi.